It's never going to happen. And if it does, I don't even want it. Because the Panthers are like the ex-girlfriend that keeps texting you. They constantly promise they're going to change, and they don't. And we're at this point in the offseason, and now is when they're going to make a blockbuster move. Come on. No, we're rolling into the season. Nick Scourton, Princely Umanmielen, and the former Vikings edge players that they brought in have collected over time. Patrick Jones and DJ Wonnum. In all seriousness, I don't think there's any chance the Panthers trade for Trey Hendrickson. DraftKings does give the Panthers plus 500 odds, which is actually really good. The Panthers are the leading destination for Trey Hendrickson behind the Bengals. So Bengals, I believe it's like minus 500, so he's probably staying home. Joe Burrow thinks he's staying home. He has a family, I think kids in the school system in Cincinnati. He likes Cincinnati, God bless his soul. He's probably not coming to Charlotte. It's probably not going to be a sweet homecoming, if we could call it that, to Charlotte for Trey Hendrickson. But they do have plus 500 odds, and I find that interesting because those odds makers know what they're doing. I was actually talking to someone high up in Vegas. She goes, those odds makers care about two things: women and making your money. That is what they care about. They're smarter than ESPN. They're smarter than the Tone even. And that's because they profit off us being wrong. I don't know why they give the Panthers such high odds of landing Trey Hendrickson. It doesn't even make sense to me because it's just so juxtaposed to what the Panthers have done all off season. It's been minimize the spend, and now you're telling me that a 31-year-old, or he's about to be 31 to start the season, you're telling me that 31-year-old Trey Hendrickson, who wants more guaranteed money, that's like 3 or 4 or 5 red flags for Brant Tillis in the Panthers front office. Notice how I don't say Dan Morgan. Because he's calling the shots. Tillis is. There's no way. It's like every red flag. There's no way that they try and land this guy. Should they? I even kind of look at that and go, it depends what he's looking for. He has a 1-year contract currently. He is with the team, but he wants the extension, wants the guaranteed money. Laura Rutledge, she reports that Hendrickson and the team are close to an agreement. The guarantees are holding that up. He's set to make $16 million this season, which is not a lot. Burns is making like $28 million a year. Burns is getting paid big money. Big money. But that's the going rate. $26 million per over the cap is what the franchise tag value will be next season. So we presume Trey Hendrickson's going to be around this number. Do you want to pay a 31-year-old defensive end that much money going into a season where your GM is literally reading off a piece of paper saying the goal of the team is development, developing the foundational core, is the cute corporate words Dan Morgan used at the podium a couple weeks ago? It doesn't make any sense. But honestly, to me, this is, again, indicative of the problem. Because Mike Kay tweeted it out. Reporters seem to think the Panthers are going to bring someone else in, whether it's an edge rusher or just defensive help in general. They did this last season with Mike Jackson. I believe it was August 22nd, 2024. The Panthers traded that linebacker they drafted in the 7th round to Seattle for Mike Jackson. Why do we need to wait until late August to improve the defense? Why are they doing this late? You've known there's been holes in the secondary, at edge, now at inside linebacker. I really highlight that word edge. You knew that was a problem all through 2024. That even goes further back than the offseason. Inside linebacker, they need one bad, but it's like Josie Jewell was in concussion protocol for a very long time, and I don't know if they necessarily knew he was going to want to walk away from football potentially. So I give them a little bit of a pass on that. Inside linebackers are tough to find these days. You had a million opportunities to bring in a veteran edge rusher. You had a million opportunities to do that. And now, when push comes to shove, the solution that we're going to be toyed with is signing Trey Hendrickson to a big extension when he's past 30. And you're going to have to probably give some compensation, a reasonable amount to Cincinnati to get him. Like, please. That is unbelievable. It's not that they shouldn't do it, but like, come on. And I go, they could have had the McDonald's off season if they wanted to. They could have had a lot for a little if they wanted to. Josh Sweat was my guy. Josh Sweat. So listen to this. The Panthers signed Trevon Moehrig and Turk Wharton. Those guys got 3-year contracts, combined almost $100 million for both of those guys. $65 million guaranteed combined. I honestly didn't think Moehrig got that much money this offseason. He signed a 3-year, $51 million deal, $35 million guaranteed. I didn't think it was that high. I thought the number was a lot lower than that. That's actually a really large amount of money. Javon Holland was somewhere in that neighborhood, but still, you could have had Josh Sweat, the biggest need on your team, edge rusher. You could have had Josh Sweat, who went to Arizona, NFL top 100 player, Josh Sweat, 2.5 sacks in the Super Bowl win against Kansas City. Josh Sweat, 4 years, $76 million, $38 million guaranteed. So you come away with Turk Wharton, Trevon Moehrig. You could have had the edge rusher if you wanted to. You could have had Moehrig and the edge rusher if you wanted. People will say cap, literally and figuratively, but it's not. It's not cap. You wouldn't have been strapped for cap. You could have managed the money. Look at Moehrig's contract. They have the majority of his cap hit in 2025, 2026, and 2027. You could have had Moehrig and Sweat if you wanted. Turk Wharton, like, he had 8 sacks last year. I get it. You need a pass rush, but A'Shawn Robinson was one of your better pass rushers last season. I feel comfortable with Robinson and Derek Brown inside. I feel comfortable with those two guys leading the way inside. I think that's good enough. If you wanted to save the 3 years and $45 million with 30 of that guaranteed that you gave Turk Wharton and sign Josh Sweat, you might be in a little bit of a better place. Now, why are they even linked to Trey Hendrickson, the defensive end from Cincinnati, who Joe Burrow does say, he goes, I think historically with these deals, we have gotten these done closer to week 1, because of course the Bengals can't manage anything. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow both signed contracts incredibly close to the start of the season, I believe. Last year, I believe. They're probably going to get the deal done. But why are the Panthers even linked to Hendrickson at this point? Because they need the help. I think the NFL, I think the Oddsmakers know that. I would be willing to bet that the Oddsmakers have insight we don't. I don't know if it's like inside trading, like politics, like Washington. They get on the phone with Brent Tillis, and I don't know if it's that deep, but they probably know something. They're making the odds. Again, there's a lot of money involved. The Panthers are linked to this guy because you're rolling out Princely Umanmielen. Nick Scourton at the collapsed lung. He's running in practice, which is great. But you're rolling out rookies and 2 rotational players from Minnesota that you've gleaned over the past 2 seasons, Pat Jones and DJ Wanham. This is your edge room. This is your pass rush. And you don't have enough star power, and people will say, well, Umanmielen looked great in the game against Houston. Honestly, I watched the tape. I watched the All-22. It wasn't that impressive. He was going against this guy, Austin Deculus, which sounds like a move that you make in Tetris. It sounds like how you configure one of those pieces to, like, fall into place. A Deculus. Austin Deculus. So he is a tackle from LSU, number 76 on the Texans. This is the guy that Princely Umanmielen is beating in the preseason game. He's not going to be on Houston's roster. He's a journeyman. He's not a pro-caliber tackle. So before you start dancing and getting excited over his reps against Austin Deculus, realize that for 1 second. That is not the level of competition he will be facing week 1. It's not. And it's not a knock on Umanmielen. He had some good reps in there, but he is a project. Nick Scourton's a little bit more pro-ready, sure, but the pass rush in general is a project. And I think Umanmielen could be a 10-sack guy. Sure. That could happen. But he's not going to be as good as he was at Ole Miss. And some of this finesse dancing and just toying with the tackle like he's a cat putting a mouse in his mouth, toying it before he attacks it, that stuff is not going to happen at the pro level. It's going to take a while for him to learn the ropes and get assimilated into the game. I think it's going to be more of a project, and that is why they're linked to Trey Hendrickson now. I unfortunately don't think it's happening. I know that's not the answer you're looking for, but at least we have some of the answers, and Dan Morgan probably will do something else before the start of the season. This is The Tone. Thank you so much for tuning in. More is to come, hopefully for the Panthers, but more is certainly to come for The Tone.